He opened his bank account. Balance, $0. Not almost empty, completely wiped out. He stood there staring at the cold glow of the screen, feeling like everything was falling apart. But 2 years later, he was the one who paid off his family's entire debt. What changed? One decision, the courage to start over, and the choice to never quit. If you've ever felt stuck like this, watch the whole story. You might just find your own way forward, starting today. It wasn't luck, not some once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and no miracle happened overnight. The thing that changed his life started from something very small. Just one habit, waking up at 5 a.m. every day. It sounds simple, maybe even a little boring, but that quiet time gave him clarity, discipline, and the space to slowly rebuild everything from zero. No rushing, no noise, just showing up every single day. And then, something no one expected happened. He had a low-paying job, steady but never enough to truly live on. Payday brought a brief sense of relief, but just a few days later, everything was almost back to zero again. Rent, food, and countless small expenses quietly drained everything he earned. No savings, no standout skills, and no clear way out. No. Every night he lay still on his bed, staring at the ceiling of his small, cramped room. His mind stuck on the same question, over and over. How long am I going to be stuck living like this? It wasn't that he was lazy, and it wasn't that he didn't try. It just felt like no matter what he did, nothing was taking him anywhere. That feeling slowly ate away at his hope each day until he started doubting himself and even his future. If you've ever had these thoughts, you're not the only one. Then came a phone call, sudden and heavy. His mother's voice dropped as she said, "Our family just got into more debt." In that moment, it felt like everything collapsed in front of him. There was no more avoiding it. He walked into the bathroom and looked straight into the mirror. For the first time, he didn't see just an ordinary person. He saw someone who was truly failing. His chest felt heavy as he said to himself, "If I don't change, then this life is over." And sometimes a single moment like that is enough to change everything. That night, he didn't scroll on his phone like usual. He didn't lie there overthinking and putting things off again. He sat up in a room so quiet he could hear his own heartbeat. He set his alarm for 5 a.m. A small decision, but completely different from every day before. The next morning, when the alarm went off, he was still tired. But this time, he didn't turn it off and go back to sleep. He got out of bed, opened his laptop, took a deep breath, and typed, "How can I make money online from zero?" No perfect plan, no clear direction, just a very rough first step. But that moment was the first time he truly took action to change his life. If you're looking for a starting point, it might be that simple. From that day on, things started to change. Not instantly, but noticeably. While everyone else was still asleep, he had already begun his day. 5 a.m., wake up. No more negotiating with himself. No more delays. 2 hours learning new skills, watching videos, reading materials, writing down even the smallest details. 2 hours of practice. Not just learning, doing, failing, fixing, and starting again. He even took unpaid jobs just to gain experience. Some days he worked for hours and got nothing but silence in return. No likes, no encouragement. No one knew how hard he was trying, but he kept going. Day after day, repeating the same small actions, not missing a single day, and that quiet consistency started to create the first real changes. If you're working hard in silence, keep going. 3 months passed, and those quiet efforts finally brought the first result. His first $80. Not much, but enough to prove he was on the right path. 6 more months. Things started to become more stable. His online income matched his main job. He no longer felt stuck like before. 1 year, consistency began to show a real difference. His income was now 3 times what it used to be. There was no big breakthrough, no sudden stroke of luck, just repeated days, effort that no one saw. Bit by bit, everything changed. If you're still at the beginning, don't quit too soon. Then one day, a message came in. Not a small job like before, but a big client, a real opportunity. In the past, he might have hesitated, maybe even ignored it. But this time, he didn't flinch. He read it, replied, and got to work immediately. No rushed preparation, because he had already been preparing for 365 mornings straight. Every day of learning, every hour of work, every mistake and correction, all of it led to this moment. Opportunities are always there, but they only stay with those who are ready. He quit his job, not out of impulse, but because he knew he was ready. He transitioned into full-time freelance work, no longer limited by office hours or a fixed salary. Every day became a new challenge, but also a step closer to freedom. From working alone, he started taking on more and more projects. As the workload grew, so did the pressure. And then he realized, if he wanted to go further, he couldn't do it alone forever. So he began building his own team, one person at a time, one small role at a time, but all with the same goal. It was no longer just about working to survive. It became about building a system that could grow long-term. If you want more freedom in the future, remember this stage. And then, that day finally came. No noise, no spotlight, but enough to change everything. He paid off his family's entire debt. A number that once kept him up at night for years was now gone. No more worried calls from his mother. No more sleepless nights trapped in endless thoughts. Everything felt lighter, clearer. For the first time in his life, he felt in control of his future. Not because he got lucky, but because he changed, little by little, every single day. Looking back, he realized it all started from one very small decision on that day. If you want a day like that too, you already know what you need to do. The difference isn't talent. It's not your starting point, or luck either. It comes down to what you do when everyone else is asleep, when no one is watching. You don't need to start with something big. You don't need to be great from the beginning, but you do need to start early, before it's too late. And most importantly, don't stop halfway. There will be days when you're exhausted, moments when you doubt yourself, but those are the days that make the difference. As long as you keep going, even slowly, you're still moving forward. If this story helped you, save it or share it with someone who needs it.